Good morning, guys, and welcome back to Dusting Off Warlord, Saga of the Storm. Featuring Niobe, one of the two Free Kingdoms warlords that dropped with the first printing of 4th edition, alongside Logan Ebenwolf. I believe Niobe and Krenthor are the only two decks I had in 4th edition where I pretty much never stopped playing them. For the most part, I kind of dabbled in a whole bunch of stuff during 4th edition, but I don't really think I ever took this or Krenthor apart. I enjoyed them too much. Niobe was actually the first deck that I made for 4th edition. And this was for kind of kind of an odd reason. So I'll get into that a little bit later if I can remember. But so Niobe, she is a 5th level good cleric. She has cleric stats +5 +0, 15 armor class, +9 skill, and 3 hit points. She is a druid and she's a nymph. Now I want to say there's maybe one or two cards that reference nymphs. There's plenty of stuff that's dealt with druids because they've been kind of a thing for the entire game's history. Isle of the Gods. Now I don't really know Warlord fluff that much. It's not that it's bad, it's that, I mean, and I've said this, it's probably too many times. I need to stop going on about this, but after you leave, after doing L5R fluff, it's hard to compete. So I do know that during the Light and Shadow set, it dealt with a series of islands. I don't even know where they were. That were like they were normal during the day, and then during the night they were inverted or something like that. I don't know if the Isle of the Gods is one of those. Again, I'm not super familiar with this stuff, but while Niobe is spent, she and adjacent free kingdoms gain +2 armor class and repost +5. This is, I believe, pretty much just lifted from, maybe not lifted, but it's the same bonus that Trevain Cartwright gives people. She has to be spent to do that, but that's not really difficult because she has this other ability. Spend order. Target a free kingdoms you control within 2 ranks. Move the target adjacent to Niobe. So I'm not really sure what else you would do with this outside of moving her to the front rank. I'm sure there's probably other ways to play her. I have never done that. Every Niobe deck, every version of this that I've ever had, invariably it's her going to the front as soon as possible, and then kind of using her ability to, again, just drag people forward so they can start swinging. So for the start here, we've got it's Niobe. We've got 2 copies of Driga, and then a copy of Ada in between 2 copies of Kyla Smith. The Drigas are just giving you buffs, and there's a lot of stuff like this in the deck. They're just giving you some small buffs. +3 attack while you're next to Driga is pretty good. +1 while she's in your discard pile is not as good, but it applies to everybody. Oh, and I believe this is the most recent Ada too. Freaking errated. Or MRP'd, whatever you want to call it. She's a cleric. Adjacent characters get +2 skill, and while 1 or more Adas are in your discard pile, your free kingdoms get +3 skill. These used to, I believe, they used to all stack together. Now it's only 1. I want to say, ooh, what is his name? The elf. The level 1 elf fighter. I've mostly avoided looking into the Accord Lands because I want my opening, my reaction video to be genuine. I want to say, is it Cyan? It's some elf level 1 fighter that I think he got reprinted in 4th edition, and he got horribly nerfed in 4th edition too. I want to say he RFP'd himself. He removed himself from the game. I think the term is banished now. I don't know. But I want to say he is getting reprinted with his original wording, which I hope they do that for more things. So, and then the Kylas, these are actually really, really cool characters. These originally came out in, what is this, Dragon's Fury. While she's in a rank with a cleric, she has the ability to spend order, perform a +2 range strike. I think the wording on this might be slightly different, but basically, instead of wounding you, it moves you forward, and then she performs a melee strike. Now, the thing about this is, you can shoot your own people with this. Like, you can shoot Niobe to give her some quasi movement with this. You also don't need to. One, you don't need to hit with the range strike in order to make the melee strike. 2, the melee strike does not need to target the person that gets hit by this. So you can use this to basically try to do some movement, but you also get the free punch out of it, which is kind of nice. Actually, I'll just address this now. Because I think outside of the Ada, these are all old printings. One of the reasons why I chose Niobe as my opening warlord is a lot of the stuff in this deck had already been printed, and Oh, good lord, how do I even? So I don't like opening packs. It's never been a thing for me. I grew up poor, and like in order to buy a pack of cards, I had to like not eat for several days. So, and I believe I think I covered this with Woodrow when I was interviewing him. I think the last pack that I opened for the purposes of buying a pack to get new cards, because I've drafted for things like Magic a couple times, but I believe it was a crystal spray, and it just like I suffered for a crystal spray. It was awful. So just never really liked the never really liked packs, and just even nowadays, like had it not been to help back the Warlord Kickstarter, I would not be buying boxes of booster packs. But when 4th edition was announced, I believe it was first when it was announced. There were no packs in 4th edition. What it was you bought adventure paths, which were basically fixed. They're like fixed starter decks. At first, I loved the idea of this. I'm like, yes, because I don't want to buy packs, and I thought it was going to be great. And then when I saw how the cards rarities were being distributed, it really I did not like that part of 4th edition. If you look at which adventure path was it? The one with Diablo and Incinerate. It was easy enough to get then. I want to say those things go for crazy amounts now. And Incinerate itself, along with especially some of the rare thralls like Radu Tam, like getting them was extremely difficult, and I did not want to buy 3 adventure packs to get a playset. It was awful. So one of the things about Niobe that I liked was a lot of this stuff I already had it. Like I didn't have to really buy too much. I still bought the starter because I needed Niobe, or the adventure path, whatever you want to call it. But for the most part, yeah, I'm glad that they're going back to, even though I don't want to buy packs, I'm glad they're going back to packs, because I have a feeling it's going to make things a little bit easier to get. So for other characters, again, the idea behind Niobe is we're going to be kind of playing her. We're playing her as a cav deck without any steeds. So now the current lineup I'm doing, we've got 3 copies of Ursula Yasar, fairly basic ranger, lots of melee strikes, 3 of them plus repost. And then her ability, after Ursula hits with a strike from the repost feat, permanently gain +3 attack. That happens sometimes. These are kind of fragile, so they tend to die really quickly, but whatever. To help that, we've got 3 copies of Court and Lie, and then a copy of the Zinara Hero that came out in, what is this? Is this Sands of Oblivion? Yeah. So these are all level 3. Corton functions very similar to the Ada, and I believe I've covered this guy. This guy is in quite a few of my decks. I think he's pretty solid. Characters adjacent get +2 armor class, and when he's in your discard pile, all your freaks get +1 armor class. Xianara just swings forever. She's got 4 strikes. May only equip weapons, not really a big deal. She's epic, so you can only play one of her. She's a hero. 2 hit points, and then once per turn, after she moves into your front rank, perform a melee strike. So if she makes it there ready, she might be swinging 5 times in one turn, which is pretty. That's a lot of swings right there. So they're not very good swings, but we're gonna fix that. The only other kind of fighting person we have in here, actually, no, wait a minute. I probably should have ordered these better. We have a copy of Moira Dunbar. Now, again, I'm going to contradict myself here, where when I first saw Moira Dunbar, when I first looked at this, and I'm like, Moira Dunbar. And because Sir Robert the Vigilant's my favorite warlord in the game. And he had a dude who would follow him around. He was like I think he was his bodyguard. His name was Lieutenant Dunbar. And this was so cool here. My father died for the Duke of Andover. That is the only part of his legacy I don't intend to uphold. That is so freaking cool, okay? So Dunbar's daughter is taking her father's place as Robert's bodyguard. Freaking awesome stuff. She's mostly just in here to try to help keep Niobe alive. She can swing, and her swings aren't terrible, but it's mostly for that defend +6, so we're going to be doing a lot of defending in this deck. Again, I should have ordered this better. Okay, so then we've got 3 copies of R.V. Sar. This guy is this is a very, very fascinating character. He's a paladin, he's a lycanthrope. The paladin part doesn't really matter. The lycanthrope can. Your other characters in this rank gain the feats Arv has at +0. He also has an ability to get feats. He can get repost, defend, or magic resistance. Magic resistance in particular, handing that out to everybody in your rank, even at +0. Like, I got some mileage out of this guy. In addition, where was it? I think I had some... Okay, I'll get to it later. Just him handing out all those feats is kind of interesting. His stats are not amazing, but they're not terrible. And he is level 3. Oh dear. Okay. Okay. You know what? Screw the order. I'm just gonna keep going through this. We got 3 copies of Rolando. This is another reason why so like a lot of these characters level 3. Rolando. He's a druid. He's a cleric. Kind of not good stats again, but after Rolando enters play, target an equal or lower level character, move Rolando forward 1 rank, and move the target forward or backward 1 rank. This can be himself. He can shove himself up to rank 1 immediately, or you can use this to kind of help move your people around. This with Kyla Smith can get somebody from rank 3 to rank 1 without them having to maneuver. So that's pretty awesome. I like those. It's also a cleric, which can be important. And then we have 3 copies of Inkita. This character is low-key. I think this is the only one in this deck that has never left, because Inkita in this deck has been so freaking useful. And it's so strange. Why? She's a 4th level cleric. She has not, again, I'll stop saying it. A lot of these characters don't really have very good stats to start out with. 1+5 attack, 14 armor class. 2 hit points, Tribe of Ravens. She's a druid and she cannot equip a steed. Order once per turn, move Inkita forward up to 2 ranks. And order once per turn, move Inkita backward 1 rank. So again, she starts in rank 4. She can, I don't know what she's doing. I think she's like holding her arms out, and like the birds or like the ravens are picking her up and flying her forward. That's what she's doing as far as my own headcanon goes. I'm not sure that's true or not, but whatever. She can then maneuver into rank 1, and she's ready to go, which can be important, and she's a cleric. So she, very, very useful card with some of the other things we've got in here. And yeah, I'm going to set her aside because she's probably going to come up again as far as my own musings here. 1 copy of Hana the Fairy and a copy of Banyan. So Hana the Fairy just, I actually quite like this guy. You can run more of these, but his ability doesn't stack together, and outside of his ability, he's not very impressive. You know, giving the rogue thing doesn't really matter. I would actually prefer if this guy were only just a rogue or just a cleric. I don't really like that he's multi-class like that because he enters play in rank 4. But whatever. Other free kingdoms in the same rank with 1 or more Han get +2 to all dice rolls. So that's saving throws, that's skill checks, that's feats. Yeah, pretty cool. And then the Banyan, this is why the lycanthrope trait matters for some of these characters. This guy is kind of odd. He's less of a character, and he's more like one of those siege buildings that buffs things. So he can't equip items. He's a druid. He's a monster. He's unique. Whatever. I think he's an ent, is what he is, or treant, whatever you want to call them. I think treant is what D&D calls them, but. While in this rank, fighters get +4 attack, rogues get +4 armor class, other clerics get +1 hit point, and lycanthropes have an additional melee strike at +0 when they attack. I believe outside of the Han, I think all of them are fighters, so it says +0, but it's really going to be a +4. And this also, the interesting thing about Banyan is this also works when he's stunned. He doesn't need to be ready or anything to do this. So you just have him head fall forward into rank 1 and just buff everybody. He draws a lot of fire though, so he usually doesn't last very long, but whatever, that's fine. He's fairly stout. So, okay, so that's the character base. Again, it's mostly 3rd level characters. I have run multiple different versions of this deck where that wasn't the case, but in this one, I think it was when Rolando got released, where I started to really seriously reevaluate who I wanted in this deck, just because that ability was so great, and Rolando, again, even if you don't draw them, he can use it on himself, and he's a cleric, and he's got 2 strikes, and that's awesome. Okay, so for other stuff, now, Aegis is a card that I believe this did not exist until, yeah, this is 4th edition, right? Yeah. This card is fascinating, and this card, I think, is one of the reasons why I don't think my Niobe deck would have, not that I did amazing with it, I did okay with it, but this card is freaking incredible. So it's level 4. Before a target character in this rank suffers wounds, reduce the wounds by 2. That's a lot of wound reduction right there. The target gains defend +10 till the end of the turn. I don't know how often I use the defend part. I think it does come up sometimes. I'm glad that it has it, but again, this is basically doing what Fulfilled Destiny does. Not quite to the same degree, because Fulfilled Destiny stops all of it. But this doesn't give them a card, and this also only has to be someone in this rank. But again, because Niobe's going forward, because everything in this deck is trying to move forward, it's usually not a problem. The Inkitas can cast this if they need to. If for some reason you don't want Niobe to do it, like, I don't remember who, like, if people were playing Thwarted. But if you're playing this in an open format or whatever, I mean, the deck's probably totally different then. But and you don't want somebody exhausting it. You know, maybe Inkita could cast it instead. And speaking of other things, Inkita can also cast. So we've got 3 copies of Lift Up Your Voices and 2 copies of Fire Seeds. Lift Up Your Voices, for the most part, is a strictly inferior version of Mass Blessing unless you're playing a Cantor. You have to spend to do this. They have to share the alignment with you and faction, and actually, not yeah, it is alignment and faction. And it's only giving you armor class and skill, but and Kita being level 4 is important because she can spend to do this. And the bonus is not as good; it's only one less, but again, Nikita's such a useful toolbox character in this deck. Giving your characters even +4 armor class, I mean, that's Vorgurn right there. And so that's pretty awesome. And again, if Niobe is not moving anything, she can do this too for a slightly bigger bonus. And then Fire Seeds. This is also a new card out of Shattered Empire. I guess it's not new anymore. It still feels new to me. It's a fire action. And this card is interesting because it's got 2 applications. So you target it. It's a spend order. It's level 4. So again, the Inkitas can cast this. Target up to 3 characters within 1 rank. Remove up to 1 wound from each target you control. Period. So there's no check involved. It's just if you're doing a whole bunch of defending crap and that, like, you know, this guy's got 1 wound, this guy's got 1 wound, and I don't know, Niobe's been hit, you can pick up 3 wounds off that, which is pretty nice. But it's also got the offensive application. Each opposing target must succeed with a magic save DC 7 plus this cleric skill, or suffer a wound. So this is obviously going to be much higher DC off of Niobe because her skill is more than twice of what Nkita's is. DC 11 is not very good, but again, if you're using this offensively, you're probably having Niobe do it. And again, just I've gotten quite a bit of use out of this card. I think it's great. I don't think this would be as good if you didn't have so much defending stuff, because typically they'll just focus fire on somebody and it just kills them. So a lot of times, if you're not able to kind of move wounds around, this is not really going to be useful for the healing part, because you can't remove multiple wounds from a single character, which is unfortunate. But hey, what do you want? It is what it is. I like it. I've gotten good use out of it. And then a single copy of Minor Miracle. This is just a healing for 1. Actually, healing might be an actual term now, so let me rephrase that. Each of your characters may only perform 1 minor miracle per turn. Before target character suffers wounds, reduce the wounds by 1. Only Niobe can cast this. I guess the Banyan can cast it too, but I don't generally like running more than 1 minor miracle in any deck, because invariably, if I do, I will draw multiple. It's usually all 3 of them in a single turn. So yeah, that's just run 1. It's fine. And Kita can't cast that, unfortunately, but it doesn't spend to do it, so Niobe is usually fairly okay doing that. And then, we've got like a freaking boatload of items here. So we've got 3 copies of Spirit's Blessing. This is ready tech, and one of the reasons why I like this is because, again, there's not much movement in this deck. Niobe is probably moving something once per turn, and then the Rolandos move you like part of the way there. But for the most part, and I think there's one more thing in here for movement, but this just readies you as long as you're not stunned, and if you're a druid, you don't have to spend to use this. You do have to discard it, which is unfortunate, and there is no Nodwick in this format, so you can't just keep doing that, that sucks, but whatever. Basically, the relevant part: order, discard Spirit's Blessing. If this cleric is a druid, ready a non-stunned character of lower level within 1 rank. Again, Nkita can use this, and she can equip this even if she's in rank 1, and you know, if you drew, I guess multiples, you would just play them all on Niobe. I've just gotten great use out of this. I think this is great. Readying something that's gotten any kind of buff, you know, like one of those freaking fighters that has 3 or 4 swings, like Zianara or whatever her name is. Zianera? I don't even know how to pronounce that. The centaur chick. Zianara. Actually, that's the... Being able to ready and keep punching is great. So I really like those. Actually, I think I play those in quite a few decks that are not even just 4th edition decks. I think it's a fairly solid card. And I've said that a lot of these characters have really crappy stats, so we're going to fix that. We've got a couple copies of Blasphemous Sign, a couple copies of Sanguine Shield, a couple copies of Balin's Helm, and a couple copies of Brilliant Scales. At the moment, I'm just doing 2 of each of these. I think you can run more, because there are enough clerics that you're not really in, I think, too much danger of drawing these that you can't put on people. Typically the first ones go on Niobe, especially the Sanguine Shield, because it does help keep her alive a little bit. But Blasphemous Sign giving +3 attack to everybody. Brilliant Scales giving +3 attack and +1 armor class to everybody. Everybody that you're next to, excuse me. Balin's Helm +2 armor class to the people that are next to you. And Sanguine Shield, this is giving adjacent characters repulse +3 and defend +4 for each one on this cleric. This is kind of interesting with Arviasar, because he will hand that off to everybody else. It's only going to be at +0, but I mean, that gives... Pretty much that gives your entire rank repost and defend, which is pretty awesome. And again, the Ada is probably going to die, so that would be at total bonus of +3 plus their skill. Actually, yeah. I just think it's great. These are kind of cool. And And then 3 copies of healing potion. Well, characters only equip 1 healing potion per game, but there are so many clerics in this deck that it's never been a problem for me. You can use it to remove a wound from somebody, or you can destroy it as a react to reduce wounds you're suffering to 0. Again, very, very solid. And again, since Niobe is going to the front, she's usually attracting quite a bit of fire, so those are awesome. Okay, and then rounding it out, we have a copy of Hod's Legacy. This card actually, as odd as it sounds, this doesn't generally go onto Niobe. It's usually better on her, but invariably this ends up on an Nikita because it's got the spend order. Ready target lower level spent, not stunned character of the same faction. Niobe can do that, and that would enable her to ready pretty much everybody except for the Banyan. The thing is, I usually want Niobe moving people. Like, I usually it's better. It's also got the order, spend Hod's Legacy, unstun target lower level character of the same faction. That can be pretty nice too. So in Kita, it doesn't really have a big deal equipping this. It's level 7. She's entering play in rank 4. But say you need her to go back, it's not difficult for her to do that. Like, if she's in rank 1, she moves back to rank 2, and then she maneuvers to rank 3, and all of a sudden she's got this on. So, and it's not like you're usually missing out too much on her 1+5 attack. So I think this card is pretty awesome. You can run more of these. It is unique, so if you draw multiples, you can't really do anything with the extra one, but whatever. And then just a single copy of Totem Crawler. This is the other movement card. It's just very, very basic. It gives you some skill that doesn't matter most of the time. This does usually go on Niobe. Once per turn, after an opposing character moves forward without spending or stunning, move a character you control forward 1 rank. So yeah, just if they're moving stuff around too and they're not maneuvering or not spending to do it or stunning to do it, yeah, you get a free movement once per turn out of it, which is pretty awesome. So again, I do very much enjoy this deck. It's a lot of fun to play. It's cool watching the freaks buff each other. And again, all those items that do that buffing. Your guys' stats aren't very good, but again, you don't need too terribly many things to start making their attacks a bit more dangerous, especially with the Drigas and the Han. So again, this is what I am running now. For the longest time, I actually started playing higher level characters. I was playing Sir Eric Kaizen, Barret Yssar also in particular. This guy I think was really the powerhouse in the deck. Yeah, I would give him a steed. I'd use his ability and just I did great with him. He was awesome. I am Hotelan, also pretty great. Got 4 swings. This you could still play some of these, but again, the Rolandos can't move these and. Yeah, Niobe, they would have to move forward into rank 3, and then they're spent, and then, I mean, Niobe can drag them after that, but along with those 4th level characters, cards like Brogan, Raimi Manaku, I think is his name, is one of the 5th level fighters that got printed fairly later. I was running those with Breastplate of Power for some more buffs, and it wasn't that it was bad, it felt clunkier. And to be honest, in some ways, it felt a little bit too much like Robert. And yeah, I love Robert, but I try not to have all my decks be exactly the same. So, oh shoot, what else do we have here? At one point, I did have a ranged element. I was running the updated Darian Winson, who's got the extra swing, and Dame Martha, because you can get these to shoot into rank 2 pretty quickly. Again, you drop it, and then you Niobe, and then you shoot, and yeah, that can be kind of nice. If there's something you just cannot shoot through, like something is just too durable, its armor class is too high, or it's got too many hit points, or something is stopping you, you had some shots, I think it's still doable. I'm just not doing it now. I believe also along with them, at least along with the Dame Martha, I was running Sister Amanda. Sister Amanda can do quite a few different interesting things in this deck. If she's the one casting Lift Up Your Voices, your characters will get the attack buff, which is kind of a big deal. She can ready Niobe after Niobe... Yeah. Once per turn, after target Free Kingdoms performs a spend order, ready the target. So Niobe can use her ability twice, which is pretty awesome. If you're using this with the Dame Marthas, it was 4 shots instead of 2, which was also pretty awesome. And it's happening at react speed, which is pretty great. She's level 5, or functionally speaking, she enters play as a 5th level character. Sometimes getting the Banyan into play can be kind of annoying, so... I also think it's worth considering Matic Yssar. This guy is kind of interesting. I do think he was meant to work with her, even though he got printed a little bit later. Was this Crimson Coast? He's got a +5 and a +2 attack, 14 armor class. He's a lycanthrope, which again, the Banyan will help him. While adjacent to a cleric, Matic has an additional melee strike base +2 when he attacks. It's really not all that difficult to get him adjacent to a cleric in this deck, so it is entirely possible that I should be dropping something. I don't want to drop the Arvs, because handing all that defend out, it's done too well for me. I mean, if I had to drop something, I guess maybe the Ursulas? He might be better than Ursula Yasar. Maybe I should consider doing that. Don't want to drop the Cortons. If I had to put him in, it would probably be the Ursulas. He might be the better choice because his armor class is quite a bit higher. So, and then, of course, you can start Ryan Mornington instead of the startup I'm using now. Ryan Mornington, I think, once he got printed, I think most of the decks that I was playing and saw for Freaks started this guy, because this guy shut down so much crap in 4th edition. He shut down Gunda, he shut down Gene Court Initiate, he shut down the freaking poison chick, the elf, what was her name? Whoever, the one who had to make you poison. This guy was super, super useful. But in this deck, I just like the, I like the skill bonus because, again, Arv's giving the feat bonuses out at not a very high bonus. So getting that +3 is nice. And then, again, the movement from the Kylas is also kind of important because there's not that much movement in the deck at all. So, but very, very doable. Probably, Ryan might be better, but I'm sticking with what I got. I like what I got. I was also, before it got errated, I was running the instructor set. Because the instructor set, it was mostly for power attack. Power attack was really, really awesome. Getting defend, also good. Repost, also good. But, I mean, power attack was, that was such a big deal. And you can still probably do this, even though it's been nerfed. We're not going to talk about that. One thing I was considering, too, I haven't updated this deck in like forever, but one of the things I was considering actually trying to fit in was Kor's Warhammer. This was out of the 20th anniversary set. So it's Cleric and Fighter only, it's level 3, and I really just wanted it, actually, all it's really good for is adjacent characters you control gain defend +4. Again, having defend is nice because, again, Niobe being on the front, it's not a safe place to be. +4 is a big bonus, especially if she's got a wound or 2 on her and she's holding a Sanguine Shield. It makes it so the check is kind of trivial, and typically what would happen is she'd be standing there, she'd have, a wound or 2 on her, someone would go in to hit her, and then you would defend it off to someone else, and that person dies a lot of the time, and so all of a sudden, then there's a new character that's adjacent to her that also has defense. So I kind of like that item. I know it's mostly for dwarves because it gives the adjacent dwarves +2 armor class. The really weird thing about this weapon is that scenario I just described where you make a defend check and die, and so someone else gets defend, and it helps keep you alive. Getting +2 armor class from Kor's Warhammer almost seems like it's like a bad thing sometimes, because if they don't hit your guy, well, you can't defend anymore because you can only defend once per turn, and you didn't die, so no new person comes to take his place. A very, very odd item, but excuse me. Sorry. For like 5 minutes, I was trying to make putrescence work. Because in theory, this should work. I mean, I'm a frontlining cleric. This is kind of an inverted version of Lift Up Your Voices. You don't have to spend to do this, which is the important part. It's level 5. Order, target all opposing characters within 1 rank. Until end of turn, any opposing characters within 1 rank of this cleric suffer a -5 armor class and skill. The reason this never worked is because somebody always had a way to stop this, because it's targeting a huge amount of people. I don't know if there was magic resistance. There was things that stopped actions. This never resolved. Like every time I tried to play this, something stopped it. And so, again, in theory, this should work. I mean, that would functionally give your guys +5 attack, which is a big buff especially for how many swings these guys have. It just never worked. It never worked. Every time I'm like putrescence and something would happen, like Aura of Protection or something would happen and it just wouldn't go. And so, yeah, I dropped it because, yeah, screw that. Screw it. And then when I was running all those higher level characters, I was running quite a bit more like ready tech or things to help them make more swings. I was running Revigorate and Speed of the Falcon. Revigorate, you can probably still use this because the Ankitas can use this, and so can the Banyan can use this, but the Rolando can use this too. So this is ready tech. This maybe should still be in here. I'm just not doing it right now. And then Speed of the Falcon. Niobe is the only one who can use this alongside the Banyan. I need to stop saying she's the only one, because Banyan can technically do all these things. It's air, target lower level, non-stunned, character you control performs an attack without spending. It's just generating a bunch of strikes, which is nice. The thing about this that's even nicer is Revigorate readies you, and then you can attack on your next order, but you might die before then. Like, someone might kill the guy you just readied. Speed of the Falcon is just you're making an attack right now, which is pretty awesome. But again, most of the time I want Niobe to be moving people. I want to keep sending more bodies into the fray, so it did work. It's just, yeah, you would probably need to be running some more level 5 clerics to make it a little bit more reliable, so that she's not the only one who's able to, is not the only one who has to play it. So, yeah. Yeah, that is Niobe. I greatly enjoy her. Again, played her for pretty much the entire 4th edition's arc, I guess, format. Haven't touched her for Ancients in a while, and actually, again, this is not even an Ancients. I mean, I guess technically it's Ancients legal. You could do a whole bunch of stuff if you made this Ancients. Just a whole bunch of things you could put in here that would probably make it better. But sometimes playing the 4th edition format, limited formats like that can be a lot of fun. So I have fun playing her. She's great. She's awesome. So I'm waffling at this point. Thank you for checking this out, guys. God bless you, and I will catch you in the next video.